Hi everyone, my name is Eva and this is going to be my first YouTube video. I decided to make this a YouTube channel so that I can lay out the information about certain teams by reading papers about it or scientific reports about it and allowing you to make your own decision about it. I'm going to be presenting facts from, I guess, both sides of the story because sometimes there are several sides to the stories, and I will not be stating my own opinion on these videos. I might do so in another separate video, but these videos will have the aim to allow you to make your own decisions about it, to allow you to get informed about the subject and make your own opinions. Obviously, I will leave everything that I read in the description down below, so if you want to, you can read it by yourself, check it by yourself. Sometimes you might have a different interpretation of what I'm reading, which is also possible, but I'll be leaving everything down below if you do wish to check it out by yourself. So this first video is going to be about coronavirus, as I said, and in this time there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I would just like to clarify some of that. And some people think the virus is not as bad as people say it is. So if you want to figure it out, if you want to have your own opinion, just stick with this video and I'm going to tell you about it. So let's get started. So the first question I would like to answer is, what exactly is coronavirus? Because we hear so many names in the news like coronavirus or COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2. Do you think these names mean the same? So coronaviruses are a family of viruses, and this family is divided in four. We have the alpha coronaviruses, the beta coronaviruses, the delta coronaviruses, and the gamma coronaviruses. And these last two mainly affect birds, and the first two mainly affect mammals. COVID-19, which is the virus we are living in right now, not that we are living in, the virus that is in the world right now, is a type of a beta coronavirus. And obviously, we'll be talking about this virus in particular. So COVID-19 is called COVID-19 because this virus was first detected in 2019, December in China. And it was later changed for SARS-CoV-2. So these two names mean the same thing, but coronaviruses is just a family of viruses. So COVID-19 was named SARS-CoV-2 because it has some similarities to another virus simply called SARS-CoV. And SARS stands for Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome. And I'll be talking about the similarities of these two viruses later on in the video. So the second question I thought would be important to answer is about the origin of this virus. There's two main theories out there, and I would say the first one is the most accepted right now in terms of scientists and what's out there in these scientific reports. And the other one I would say is more of a conspiracy theory. I haven't seen much proof about it, but I'll still be talking about it because maybe in the future we'll have some proof for it. So starting with the first theory. The first theory is that this virus obviously originated in Wuhan, China, particularly in the seafood market that is out there. The reason why they think this virus might have originated there is because there are wild animals being sold there, and there is the consumption of these wild animals. So the theory would be that these animals were infected with the virus, then humans consumed these animals and got infected, and then later infected other humans. It was found that the genome sequence of SARS-CoV-2 matches 96.2% to a bat COVID, which might mean they have a similar ancestor. And for a bit of perspective, the same genome sequence of SARS-CoV-2 only matched by 79.5% to the other virus, SARS-CoV, which I said it's the virus which COVID-19 has some similarities to. And don't forget that SARS-CoV-2 means the same thing as COVID-19. Some other evidence that supports this theory is that the environmental samples taken from the market tested positive for COVID-19. Even though I just stated that the bat COVID is 96.2% similar to the genome sequence of SARS-CoV-2, that is not classified as sufficient enough to say that the bat is its natural host, even though it seems like a very high percentage. Although we do have to have into account that this virus can suffer many mutations and it might be almost impossible to have a sample from the particular way that the virus was in that bat. Sorry for the shitty audio quality, but I forgot to add that there is some other analysis that have demonstrated
the possibility of other alternative sources, such as turtles, pangolins, or snakes, and these animals were sold in the seafood market. And even though they might not be the natural host, they can be an intermediated host, meaning that the bats probably infected these animals, then these animals were sold in the market and they infected humans. And I say this because I did see somewhere that bats were not being sold in this market at that time. And that's why the theory is that these other animals can be the intermediated host. But there can also be a chance that these animals can be the natural host as well. I have no idea. As I said, nothing is 100% proven yet. And maybe the bats were actually being sold at the time as well. I don't know. I've only seen this in one paper. I'm just saying what I've read.
So the second theory, obviously, that we've heard, I think all of us have heard, is that this virus was made in a lab and it got out to the world either by an accident or purposely. So obviously, someone that has really stated that they think this theory is true is Donald Trump. And I've seen other US officials saying that they have proof of this. And Donald Trump has also stated this. However, I have not seen any proof of that as of yet. We will wait to see what comes of this investigation. Obviously, an investigation has to have time to see what's going to come up. But so far, I have not seen any proof of this. And I did see in some papers that if it was true, there would be a reverse genetic system for beta coronavirus that would have been used if this virus was purposely put out there to the world. And studies have said that the virus did not come from any previous virus backbone. So there's that. The third question I would like to answer is, how does the infection occur? So basically, it's because of the large droplets we tend to release to the air, either by sneezing or coughing. And if we inhale these droplets or touch them and then touch ourselves, we might get infected. What happens is that this virus tends to target the respiratory tract, where there are the ACE2 receptors, and it tends to bind to these receptors to later infect our cells. Basically, beta coronaviruses encode certain proteins like the glycolylated spike S protein. And this is the one that binds to the ACE2 receptors that are in our respiratory tract. And that's what allows the infection to start. After the fusion of the virus with the cell membrane, the virus releases its viral RNA into the cytoplasm of our cells, and that allows the infection to proliferate through our body. So the main symptoms of this virus are fever, cough, and fatigue, but there's also been reports of vomiting and diarrhea. Obviously, people with critical conditions or elderly people tend to get more critical symptoms, which can later develop to respiratory failure or even death, unfortunately. The rise of these more critical symptoms is due to the extreme rise of inflammatory cytokines in our body due to the infection. Now I'm going to be mentioning some treatments for coronavirus. First, I'll be talking about some drugs, and then I'll be talking about vaccines. And before I start, I just want to say that no matter what I say about drugs being effective or not effective, I'm not condoning anyone to self-medicate, because these papers study this medicine for medical professionals to use, not for everyone to use, because sometimes we don't even know the concentration to which we should be using this medicine in and the quantity we should be taking. So do not self-medicate, even though I might say a medicine is effective or not, and also because some of this medicine can have some side effects. So the mild illness symptoms that we might have should be treated at home. Because these can go by eventually. As we know, there's even asymptomatic people. They don't even have symptoms. It seems like nothing is wrong with them. So this should be treated at home. If you do have some other symptoms and they get really serious, then you should call someone to say that you have these symptoms, and they might go to your house and do a test to you to see if you have this virus or not. Some of the drugs that are being tested are chloroquine, Harbidol, remdesivir, favipiravir, ivermectin, and lopenar. All of these revealed a certain efficiency in treating the virus. However, they've also revealed some other side effects, and it really depends on the concentration to which you use them in. So I'll be linking down below an article that states how each of these medicine attacks the virus, what it does to it, and what are the side effects and what are the positive sides of this medicine. If you are interested in that, it's really good. It goes into detail if you're interested. I just want to say something else. When reading these articles, you really should read carefully and paying attention. So even if you just read a paragraph, that's good enough, because sometimes we can get overwhelmed and we might read the whole paper but nothing gets in. And this is really interesting stuff. So if you're interested and it seems really overwhelming, or you might think you won't understand anything, you will get the gist of it. So just try to read it carefully and pay attention to what you're reading. I will also link down below another study that specifies more in chloroquine if you're interested in that, because there was a certain controversy of, for example, the Brazilian president and Donald Trump saying that you should be taking chloroquine and things like that. So if you want to know about the effectiveness and the side effects of chloroquine, this is a really good article. So now I'm going to talk about the vaccines. And the vaccine that is most advanced entered in the clinical human testing area in March 16 of 2020. And for you to have a little bit of perspective, usually making a vaccine takes 10 years. And some scientists predict that we will be able to use a vaccine in emergencies or with a protocol by early 2021. So that is like really amazing. Obviously, there might be some downsides to it because it's being made so fast. There might be some mistakes because scientists have to test the efficiency of this vaccine in long term and short term. So I just hope everything is being made carefully, and I do hope so, and I have the hope that it is being done carefully. The most advanced candidates I will show here on a table right now who they are, and as you can see, there are different types of vaccines that are being tested right now. And I'm going to be talking a little bit more about what are these types of vaccines, instead of going really in depth about particularly vaccines for coronavirus, because there's not that much information out there. But I will link down below an article that can explain how these different types of vaccine will target coronavirus if they are efficient, and what might be the negative sides of these vaccines and the positive sides of this vaccine. So an article really similar to the one I stated previously about the medicine, there's also kind of a version of that for the types of vaccines. And it's really interesting. It shows you how the vaccine might neutralize the virus and other stuff that are really interesting. The more advanced type of vaccine right now is a messenger RNA-based vaccine. Basically, this messenger RNA encodes a protein antigen. Then we also have DNA vaccines, inactivated whole virus vaccines, which are the ones that I feel like everyone knows more about. Basically, these are the vaccines where a form of the virus that is inactivated or dead is injected, and this will allow our white blood cells to recognize the virus if we get infected in the future and prevent us from getting sick. We also have viral vector vaccines, lentivirus vectors, bifidobacterium vector vaccines. So this is going to be it for this video. In the next video, I will be talking more about the effect of the coronavirus, of COVID-19, in the whole world, as well as in our mental health, physical health, and in the economy. And what is going to happen in the near future, what is predicted, how are we going to recover from this? That's also something I will be talking about in the next video, which I hope I can post in a week or so. So if you liked this video, if you thought it was important and helpful, please give me a thumbs up, comment down below any other suggestions, and that's it. See ya.